This is how it came boxed, obviously. Somewhere in here there's supposed to be an amplifier. So let's have a look. Can you see all that? No. Okay. Within the box there is an amplifier. And that is this here. It's very narrow. It comes with it. There's no option to get just the guitar. So here's the little baby amp. I have nothing against it, but you know, if I could save a couple bucks, don't really need it. But there it is. Comes with instructions. Turn on, plug in. No. And of course the guitar cable. Truss rod adjustment tool. It's always such a sweet little gesture, isn't it, to put a cable in here? Does anybody use these? And a rather lightweight, soft bag. Very soft, but you know. Again, these are just extras as far as I'm concerned. I doesn't really need to have an amplifier in a bag. Again, this is a 12 string. All right, so this caught my interest because it is a 12 string and it has a Strat body. It kind of looks cool in a way, you know. You can get this or a Telecaster. I don't think they have a hollow body version, but what I was interested in was the bridge. Yeah, here, let me see. I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm not close enough to the monitor to really tell. I'll do this on another camera, or I'll take a still. But it appears to have two intonation adjustments for each string, which was a concern, and you couldn't tell when you looked at it on the website. It's like a roasted neck. Feels hefty, feels solid. I mean, you know. No, it's not. So I just tuned it up. That took a while. What's to note? Just that the strings are of very poor quality. They, two of them, the octave G and the unison E, they unraveled at the ball end. So they're just shitty strings. So that's, you know, that happens. I'll have to get a couple new strings, or else probably get a nice set of 12 strings for this thing. Tuned up okay, otherwise. And I'll let you hear it. There's some, well, let's just listen to it. Again, I didn't do any intonation or anything, so that's not really wildly bad. The low string, the lower octave strings are a little sharp as we go higher, so I'm going to have to pull that back. But the bridge is not entirely horrible. I'll show you the pickups. Here's a problem. This has a split coil feature. The humbucker is loud, very loud, compared to the other two. And even when it's on single coil. So I'll show you there's a little bit of disparity there. This is turned all the way up. And that's the humbucker. I'll move through, I'll turn the mic off. Again, the strings are bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the string problem, and I'll come back to you and we'll play it a little more. Okay, so a couple of days have passed since the last segment. I got a new set of strings, but honestly I opted to only replace the broken strings for a couple of reasons. One, and first and foremost, is it's a pain in the ass, and secondly, let's just see what the stock strings are really like. And as we know, the high G octave and the number 10 E unison, they both unraveled from the ball, which is probably a sign of poor manufacturing. I don't know what brand of strings they are. I got some Diodario's, and I just put the it's an 08 as the octave for the G, and I put a 10 for the E. And as you know, tuning is generally an imprecise art with the 12 string. There's so much involved, pressure on the string, height at the nut, everything that's involved on a 6 string is even more so on a 12. So I tuned this thing the best I could. I did not change the intonation except for the low E, and I think I put a couple of turns on the A to bring them back. They were sharp as you go up the neck. The action is the same as it was from the factory. I would have to say you probably wouldn't want to make it much lower. So let me point out both the good and the bad from the get-go. Well, probably the biggest issue with this instrument, this is the Starshine again, are the pickups. This one's loud, doesn't really sound that great, and these two are just so weak as to be nothing. And I tried raising them, and they just get too close to the string. So let me show you. I'm going to go from the treble pickup to the middle and to the rhythm, and the drop off is just phenomenal. It's like more than should be, I think, for a single coil. Let me turn off the. And beyond that, they kind of don't sound like anything. It's odd. They almost suck the sound out. I mean, this thing should chime and shimmer. I'm using a stock, if you're following along, and you have positive grids, bias effects too. See, part of my philosophy here is that you should be able to have a reference for these things that I do here. And I hope to kind of make that a part of this. Like, if you want to know, like if you have a sense of how your guitar sounds like, what your guitar sounds like through this basic setup, then you can kind of get a gist get the gist for what this is sounding like. And I intend to try to maintain that. So, what's the EQ? Yeah, 6. Let's see. Just north of 6, just north of 6, just south of 7 on the button, just north of 6. just north of 6th, all the way from left to right. So the intonation is not that terrible to be able to play this high. It's pretty impressive, really. The low strings get a little funky. But, I mean, for the price, overall, I would say it's not a ripoff. It's you know, if you really want a 12-string electric, there were some versions of this. I think I mentioned this already that sold for $99. They weren't quite the same. I don't have them. I haven't had them in my hand, but there are a lot of similarities. The neck design and the headstock and some of the hardware appears to be about the same. But those prices are probably going to be gone now. Everything is rising tremendously, in case you haven't noticed. If you watch a YouTube video now, things that people said were $99 or $150 are now $150 to $200. So this was $219, I think. Again, overall, if you decide to buy this, your pickups are shitty. Okay, let's just be honest. Oh, there's also a geometry problem. Let me see if I can get a better shot of this. All of the pickups do not lay over. You don't really get, let's see here. They don't lie over the high E pole piece. You see that? Especially on the humbucker. They don't cross over the pole piece. It's worse than this if I could just get it. See, it starts to get degrade as you go from the G to the high E. And that's what made the high E sound so dead. It's not meeting up over the pole piece. To fix that, I don't really know. I know that you can, as you know, probably you can take these pick guards off and replace all the electronics very simply with a couple of wires to the jack and to the grounding unit, grounding circuit. So I don't know. Maybe you could try a different pickup pick guard arrangement to move them. I don't know. That would, you'd have to recut. You'd have to cut your own pick guard, I guess, unless you have a different solution. And again, the bridge. Bridge is a unique setup. And I'm going to have to give you a still of that, I think. You're just not going to be able to tell. The mechanism has both a low and a high section to each of the pairs. And the section for the octave string is lower, and it also moves independently. So theoretically, you can move each one independently of the other, which is a bonus. What I did notice when I messed around with the low E string is that for some reason they are interdependent as far as tuning, and you have to go back and forth and really kind of like do it in a multi-step pattern to sort of get it to settle down and get it to where you want it. But it's outside of the probably the kind of metal used, it's a pretty good method. I mean, I have never owned another electric 12 string, so I don't really know. But I mean, in theory, again, it's designed uh, to be able to be intonated for each string. So again, the big problem is the way the pickups sound and the geometry here. The neck is very good, I have to say. Uh, let's see. Oops, sorry. Yeah, the neck is very good for what it is. I mean, honestly, I mean, and it's stiff as it's very strong. The tuners, the tuners have a little backlash. So I mean, if you really want to get serious and you want to work on this thing, it's the usual suspects. You know, pickups, tuners, um, things like that. Uh, on the whole, though, you know, I would say if you really want a 12 string and you're willing to put a little work into it, this one will work. I mean, you know, that's the intonation from the factory on an octave D and an A. It's pretty respectable, really. So, I'm going to wrap it up with that. I say if you really want a 12 string, give it a try. There are other ones probably that may suit your fancy. This particular company has one that looks like a Telecaster. Maybe you'd like that one. I will say you're probably not going to be able to tell if the geometry meets up on the strings over the pickups because you really can't tell in those pictures. And that's just a limitation of the way they're presented for advertisement. And it's just another chance you take. So with that, I hope you've learned something here and, you know, guided your decisions whether to or not to purchase this 12 string. And until next time, please stay healthy and happy and see you then.